Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to join you for the 2018 Corporate Conduct and Class Actions Symposium, held by from the OECD's headquarters in Paris. I regret not being able to join you in person, but my office is further away from the Western Hotel than it used to be. Today's symposium comes at a time of corporate soul-searching in Australia. Many companies are taking a step back and considering whether they have the right governance structures in place to meet their stated values. Leaders in business and government alike are questioning whether we're doing enough to promote responsible business conduct. I'd like to set the scene for your discussions today by detailing 3 areas we can focus on to achieve good corporate conduct. Firstly, corporate culture. Secondly, enforcement. And thirdly, competition. Let's unpack each of these. First, on corporate culture, a positive corporate culture is the foundation of a company's ability to do the right thing. Poor corporate culture creates a corporate environment where poor conduct can take root, and it has, and may even be rewarded, while good culture can uncover and inhibit misconduct and reward and encourage good conduct. The tone from the top, the C-suite and the board, it's critical. Companies also need to closely consider how people are held accountable, and also whether challenging the status quo is encouraged, or whether remuneration incentives reinforce or undermine the culture. Companies should be using culture to achieve good conduct because it is the right thing to do. But perhaps more than that, they should do it because achieving good culture and conduct is simply good for business. There are many studies, including empirical research from the OECD, that demonstrate a clear positive link between long-term financial performance and performance against non-financial aspects of business, such as environment, social and governance measures. And when you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Businesses are granted a social license to operate by the crowd. That is, their customers, their employees, investors, suppliers and other stakeholders. If they breach the conditions of the social license, they'll actually lose the trust of that crowd. They will be deserted by their customers, staff and investors, and their businesses will suffer, as we've seen many times in recent years. Second, on enforcement. We know that the vast majority of businesses want to do the right thing. We also know there are those who don't, either purposefully or through complacency. And one of the things the OECD does is actually help governments set a level playing field for business. This means a common set of rules in the market that businesses can play by, so the competition occurs through economic means and not on the basis of misconduct or just simply poor business practices. And we do this in international markets through global policy standards like the OECD Convention on Combating Bribery of Foreign Public Officials in International Business Transactions. And we support this also in domestic markets through local policy reviews to actually help governments ensure that market governance reflects best practice. As we did with the review of pecuniary penalties for competition law infringements in Australia, which we released earlier this year. These are valuable policy instruments to help govern business behaviour and market outcomes, but they will not be enough by themselves. The level playing field also needs a referee to enforce the rules. Effective enforcement means having well-resourced regulators, both in terms of powers and resources in terms of money, so that they're able to effectively carry out surveillance and take action, including legal action against misconduct. Having appropriate sanctions in place is a critical aspect of effective enforcement. There is no point having penalties which do not sufficiently deter wrongdoing and provide an incentive for poor conduct. Returning to the report on pecuniary penalties in Australia, the OECD found that the maximum penalties imposed for competition law infringements are lower than in comparable jurisdictions. And I know the ACCC is considering the findings and recommendations from this report very closely. And we also saw with the record penalties awarded in the Yazaki cartel case recently that actually suggests the judiciary is actually taking notice too. So change is occurring. These are positive developments. We need to make sure that fines aren't just seen as a business expense. It's also worth mentioning whistleblowers are an incredibly important resource for regulators and law enforcement agencies. Returning to the question of culture, whistleblowers should be seen as an asset to a corporation. These are often employees who want their organisations to do well, and they want them to do the right thing. And again, they should be seen as an asset to the business. But in the absence of robust corporate policies on whistleblowing, which I think can represent a missed opportunity for companies, what we've got to do is make sure we have good whistleblower protections enshrined in the law. Finally, on competition, we need to create an environment where businesses are able to fully compete on good culture and conduct. The power of the crowd, which is the strongest incentive today for good business practices, works best also if customers can switch easily between services. Upcoming market reforms like open banking and consumer data rights will actually help drive better conduct, but only if they truly allow consumers to vote with their feet and to desert businesses who have behaved inappropriately or shown themselves to be untrustworthy. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope this has given you some fertile material for your discussions this morning, and I look forward to actually hearing the outcomes of today's symposium. Thank you.